How's it going, everybody? It's Man Tomorrow here. I want to thank y'all for coming through on this late Saturday night. I want to thank you for spending your time here. For those people here, hold on, sir. Hold on, sir. All right, I want y'all to hit the like button upon coming in to give people a couple minutes to come in, so that way we can work through this particular issue. So that way you can be able to know this stuff when you actually see it and how to actually respond to it, so that way you don't end up as stuck in these positions as these individuals are. Because it's very important that we understand that apparently we're under attack by our own people, because people want to excuse me, people want to act like there's not realistic solutions to all these problems, but a lot of these individuals want to solve the actual problem with the actual problem itself. So if you're going to want to move somewhere else, you're going to have to use different things to actually get there. You can't use elements of the actual issue that you use to get there to move. All right, so you have to understand like why this conversation is needed. This conversation is pretty much needed is because a lot of people don't understand that the way that they think, the people that they hang around, the things that they actually ingest, and the things that they think about, and the people who they deal with are the reason why all of these things happen to them. They really think that they're going to go to untrained equipment trying all this old fangled nonsense, and somehow it's going to end up them a better result than what they actually had beforehand. And that's just not the case. So, what you have to understand is before I put the definition up on the screen, we need to talk about what the victim mentality is not. Because there's a lot of stupid people within this space who do not want to pick sides. They don't want to work for progress. They don't want to do anything except for build a platform based off of these problems, PhDs included. There's no need for that type of stupidity at this point. However, there are things that are said within this space that need to be addressed with the victim mentality, because other groups of people don't have this problem when they're talking to their own people about these issues. I think I seen an Arab dude say something to the effect of some of this nonsense, and they knocked the shit out of that dude. They had no problem rectifying the issue. So when people talk about the victim mentality, most so-called black conservatives, when they talk about the victim mentality, they want to dismiss actual issues that are going on within society and act like the issue isn't happening, and subsequently is never going to be discussing any type of policies to actually solve those problems in society itself. Let me give you a good example. I don't know why people say this. They should be in fear of their life when they say things like this. But you hear it a lot. Like when they say like, "Oh, racism isn't an issue. You know, people can go get a job anywhere." I'm like, listen, when people are addressing specific issues, they're not saying that you can't do anything in society because of a specific problem. Therefore, you dismiss it. The problem is a specific problem that is addressed through data and information, so that way you can move toward a solution. Now, a lot of these people are okay with the way things are currently going. You have to understand that. A lot of these people are way more okay about the way things are going, and they really don't want to solve any problem. Hold on a second. What's going on, Ike? What's going on, my son? Inquisitive Prince, LOM, Roger Spice, Donald B. Howard Cooper. Yeah, so you have to realize that. Listen, man. It's not that many people who want to move forward. And I'm happy that these women are fucking these dudes up whenever they walk in with game and all that type of stupid shit. I'm happy about that. But back to this victim mentality thing. People use the victim mentality as a troll on people who actually want to participate in society and move forward to actual better solutions. Now, these people want to do everything in the world but solve their own problems. They want to outsource the entire mechanism to people who are purely participating while not organizing on the side that they're clearly on. Given everything that's going on in the country, if you're talking about anything else other than the economy, something is clearly wrong with you. If you're talking about anything else other than the insurrection, something is clearly wrong with you. Because those are bigger crimes and bigger issues than all these other female based and related things that are going on in society. Way bigger than those things. Because you got to have a functioning system for things to work. What's going on, Brandon Baxter? So what you have to realize, listen, dismissing problems is not the victim mentality. Dismissing problems is a tactic that they used in the 70s on TV when they had this resurgence of black conservatism that was nothing but trolling. You had Thomas Sowell, he was a big one, and Larry Elder, who was also a big one, who was on TV just trolling black people to their face about actual problems that they didn't want to actually solve. And that's where the victim mentality thing kind of came from the right, like how the right uses woke nowadays, when the word actually means something else historically, but they kind of get a hold of words and they twist words and they twist definitions. What is also not the victim mentality is actually addressing things that are wrong within the environment itself. This is another thing that black conservatives do, most conservatives overall. They kind of love it or leave it. You can't complain about things because America's perfect. And if you complain about anything that's wrong, the issue is with you, the person, not the situation that you're complaining about. However, if the same situation happens to them, they want to complain about the issue, but it's only an issue when it happens to them. They don't have the capacity to understand issues when it happens to other people. They don't have the issues of thought and foresight to see those type of things. They only make it an issue when it affects them. They don't even care about the rest of society. So let's move forward here. All right. Here's my definition. Eric Bird, thanks for the $10 super chat. Happy holidays, MOT. In the chat, may also mention the unproductive boomers, Gen Xra, millennials also contributed to the victim mindset. Yes, yes, yes. And also, the gasoline is halved. Do you see anybody who's complaining about the actual gasoline prices complaining about them right now? No, they just went on to another thing and ignored every other problem in society. So I'm going to put on the screen my actual definition of the victim mentality. So that way we can know exactly what we're talking about. This is my definition of the victim mentality. My definition of the victim mentality is the inability to acknowledge or solve one's own problems when apparent alternatives are available. This is a way of shifting the blame to society to solve their problems for them. Yes. So when you see non-productive individuals who care about single mothers, non-productive individuals who care about Meg Thee Stallion, we talking about PhDs having conversations with fake master teachers over shit that don't even matter. But this is their contribution to society. That's a bum for the 199 super chat. So you have to understand there are problems in society. But how you don't solve the problems in society is sitting here and endlessly complaining in a cyclic loop about the same problems. There's no reason for grown ass adults to be having conversations about the relationship conversation. The relationship between black men and black women. It's nothing but a troll. These group of people, most of the women, have humiliated and abused the shit out of their position within society to the point to where these people are dating still in their mid to upper 30s, still talking about how much infinite dick that they have out here, and somehow thinking that they deserve a spot on somebody else's team. But what you guys have got to understand is that when people talk about the community, they're talking about community cleanup. They didn't talk about how the community got here in the first place, because if you cared about this thing the entire time, someone has to be responsible the entire time. Yeah, it's a chain of custody. You can't just show up, say that you care about the community because you want to see these women not suffer. I mean, that doesn't make any sense. We have to examine how we got here in the first place. Because a lot of people want to go from active fuckery to inactive fuckery to general population not having these problems. But you have to understand that you're not going to be able to hold both of these levels together. You're going to actually have to choose a side of whether you want to be with these problems or whether you don't want to be with these problems. Eric Bird, thank you for the $5 super chat. Even these silver spoon Negroes and white people crying and complaining entitled suburban warriors. Yeah, that's what it is. That's normally what it is, you know. Again, since Mr. Carlton Banks don't know what he's talking about, we're just gonna help him up out of here, man. Yeah, let me get you up out of here. Let me help you out, man. There you go. Now, Carlton Banks, when I drop the link, you can come back up here and get unblocked. But let's continue this conversation about the victim mentality. All right, so when you deal with these individuals in this problem, no matter what the problem is, no matter what the problem is, there is a 6-step plan that I have in making sure that you break them up from actually discussing these actual issues with you. What's going on, Yuri? What's going on, Eisen? All right. When a person is talking about the community, they normally do not have their own personal finances in order. Talking about the community in the state that it's in, it's a shift of blame away from those individuals who cause these problems in their own life. And they're kind of shifting the blame to individuals who they want to take care of these issues themselves. That's normally what the problem is when you have this community-based minded conversation. It's nothing but a way to cover for women's actions within the environment, to cover for these fake ass dudes who claim that they got sexual access to these women who actually destroyed those people within the environment. And pretty much putting up this wall of, what do you call it? Kumbaya moment that these people need to be taken care of, which I do not agree with. I think that with infinite choice come infinite consequences. And if you did not manage your choices appropriately, then you should pay for those consequences by yourself. And it is not anybody else's concern that you pay for these consequences on your own. Now, do they have concerns that are valid? Yes, they do. So, with this particular conversation, you have to validate their concerns, but not enable the conversation to go on. We know what the condition of the community is. We know how we got there. Blatant, utter disloyalty and mismanagement of choice. Not having enough game to deal with these consequences, that's not part of the issue. Too often that we get into the ability of nullifying actual concerns because we don't want to acknowledge that there's a problem with this actual concept. That's what I'm saying to you, Rory. Proper choice. But like a lot of these people come to the manosphere with their perfect little lives and they just want to come through and they want to nullify all concerns that are happening, all concerns that men are actually talking about within the environment itself. That's why it's good to validate these concerns, not enable these concerns. And that's why it's okay to get rid of people who try to nullify the actual problems that are actually here within the environment itself. Because there's really no rationale for everybody to experience the same. Like me, I don't even date these people and I see all these problems. But it would be very improper for me to just sit here and act like all of these complaints about these things are not happening. It would be very improper for me to be acting like that. While you don't nullify their concerns, nor add to the conversation, because if these people did not want these actual outcomes, they wouldn't have had them in the first place. And there's only a certain finite amount of time that you can complain about the actual women within the environment. At some point, you have to go find new inventory. The complaints about the same inventory isn't going to change if the actual inventory that has a problem is your actual end goal at the end of the day. So the next step is whenever you hear somebody going down this road, you have to shift their thinking to problem solving. I'm like, okay, so there's a problem. You know that these people are an issue. What do you plan on doing about it? Because if you want control of your household, you got to have the finances and the resources to do that. And most of the time, for most of the low hanging fruit and people that you shouldn't be dealing with, they don't like men who have self control and have their money together. So you can't say that you want to hold yourself in disrepair so that way you can qualify for a subsegment of women and then complain about the actual issues that you have with them after you're done dealing with them. This becomes a you problem, not a her problem. You have to understand that there is no story that you are going to cover within the manosphere itself of these women acting a fool on no level that is going to change the fact that they have infinite options in their inbox that they run into every day and that they interact with every day. Nothing is going to change that. Not a damn thing is going to change that. The only thing you can change is you. I mean, you just have to ask this individual, what about this situation that is in your control? What about the situation that is in your control? You can't control the birth rate. You can't control who they date. You can't control who they be with. You can't control any of those things. So complaining about it ad nauseum isn't going to solve your problem either. But you have to get this person to the problem solving process. You have to solve with new inventory. If it's that bad and you know how bad it is, you have to solve with new inventory. That's the only way that it's going to be able to work. And if the individual is unwilling to move to new inventory, then you have to disengage the conversation, especially if the complaints are the same. If the complaints are the same, let's say you've been in the manosphere 7 years and your complaints are nearly the same about the same type of woman that you claim that you don't want to be with, that you don't want to take care of, that you don't want to take care of her kids. Yet every time this woman is talked about, you find your ass in the middle of cheering this shit on that she's messing up. That tells me that you haven't created a life without complaining about this woman. That's what that tells me. Don't tell me how loyal you are to the black community because you ain't bringing resources to the table. You're bringing hard dick diplomacy to the table. That's an amazing way of fighting feminism. Is fighting feminism with a hard ass dick. A solo suicide mission guaranteed for failure. And after you do fail, you want everybody in the world to feel sorry for you. There's a difference between venting and then there's the complaining victim trap. Hell, most of my live streams are venting. But guess what I'm not doing while venting? I'm not venting and then I'm turning around and dealing with the same individuals. I'm not venting about this shit and then turning around trying to re-Keisha this goddamn Keisha. Like, I'm not doing that shit. But like a lot of these dudes, pride and self-esteem is caught up in the fact that they can deal with these consequences with a big ass smile on their face. That type of shit I don't get and I don't care about. Those type of things are a personal issue. Those type of things are something that people should be embarrassed about to talk about in public. Because if you deal with problematic people, you deserve the consequences that goes along with that. And that is a personal problem. Let's go to the second thing. That's also with the victim mentality itself. A lack of political understanding and how politics work within a society is stupid as shit. A lack of understanding history within this country and this society should never be tolerated by anybody. You don't get the luxury of doing this in other cultures within America. You don't get to do that. It's very clear. A lot of these people love civilized society, but they do not want to work for the things inside the society itself. They want to outsource those things to other people who are actually participating in the process itself. This is why I don't like people who's in the middle who attack the left but ignore the right. There's a difference in being in the middle, and then there's a difference between being in the middle, attacking the left, and ignoring the right. Those are two different things. Like I'll give you an example. Wacky World of O is actually in the middle. Wacky World of O does not engage in anti-black trolling. Wacky World of O doesn't engage in this troll to left bullshit. Wacky World of O can deal with the issues as they come to him because he's in the middle. He deal with the issues as they come with them. Now, I don't see Wacky World of O firing up a live stream trying to throw the left under the bus every time. You don't see that. People who are actually in the middle read the policies as they come about and then make decisions. That's way different from people feigning that they're not on the right when they clearly are. Again, power within society is very specific about how you gain it, not generalized. There are different groups of people and different individuals within society itself who play by these specific rules, as I have, and they get something out of this system of democracy itself. Now, none of these things are hard. None of these things are hard. However, we know that we don't have any friends anywhere. However, you still have to read what's actually going on around you, not just waiting for some shit that's just happening to the left and that's the only thing you cover. That's pretty stupid, especially when you had an insurrection that happened 2 years ago. You're not on the left, but you're not on the side of the insurrectionists either. Come on, man. But again, a lack of own personal power has been outsourced to this so-called mythical community. Well, they've outsourced it so that way other individuals is going to work on their behalf. They're never going to participate, but they want to walk away with all the benefits of everybody else organizing but them. There is absolutely no reason to hold conversations over and over again within this space with individuals, the same individuals who do not understand anything. There's really no rationale for doing that. Let's get to the financial piece. Now, a lot of individuals have financially held themselves behind so that way they can be as weak as possible to be picked off by this woman that they claim that they don't like within society. Now, this is their fault. This is their problem. This has nothing to do with anyone else. In fact, today, in this society today, it is easier to get your shit together than at any other time in history. And not solving one's own personal finance issue is a personal problem. There is not a problem that you cannot solve for free online right now. You can learn how to do nearly anything on YouTube for free. You can Google, or not even Google, you can look up the top 10 unfilled jobs in any state that their state workforce center will give you nearly free training and job placement to get into. Now, the problem here is that people want to be rewarded by a bad system because somebody else was rewarded by a bad system. There are no good men, there are no bad men. There's only experienced men and inexperienced men. And for some reason, the inexperienced men want to try to pass themselves off like they're experienced men. This is where the synthetic victim mentality come in at. So what I mean by the synthetic victim mentality is that you don't have the problems of the previous generation who failed, but you're acting like you're having a problem of the previous generation. You see, the synthetic victim mentality takes a younger individual following up behind some whack ass dudes, and they want to be unproductive as if producing anything will mythically not get them anywhere. Be glad that you ain't got baby mama drama. There's nothing laudable about that situation. There's nothing laudable about raising this half on a baby shit. There's nothing laudable about that type of situation. In fact, some individuals think that they're more man than the other man in the actual society because they attempted to have a kid with said person under those circumstances and it turned out that way. They want to use their failure as some type of extra credit in some type of system that don't exist. That's why the synthetic victim mentality is the child of the father of the victim mentality itself. Again, the person with the synthetic victim mentality, they don't have these problems. They deny the productivity piece as if they benefit from not actually getting their own personal finances together. And yes, some areas of the country are better than others. But at this point in time, this ain't the 1990s or the 1980s or the 1970s or the 1960s. You can save your money up for a couple of years and get the hell out of the South if it's not working out for you. You are responsible for where you are actually located, unless your ass is in prison for no reason. You're responsible for that. You're responsible for putting yourself in the best position possible so that way you can win. You are responsible for that. You can't outsource that out to society. That's your responsibility. If you choose to live in an area with no jobs there, that shouldn't be a complaint year after year after year. That should be a complaint 1 year at the minimum, 2 years at the max. You should be saving your money and researching to move to another area along with skilling up. However, the person with the victim mentality wants to stay in a bad situation, not work to fix it, not skill up to fix it, but hoping the society itself fixes it for them. That is just improper. Not only do they expect society to fix it for them, they're not even trying to engage in any progress on their own stead to get themselves out of the situation themselves. Then they want to blame women and all this other shit when it's their responsibility to get out of these circumstances. You know full well if you have a kid with that person, that untrained equipment that you decide to use all these game style tactics on, you know that stuff wasn't going to work long term. You know that. But these things are your issue and you have to solve them. Like me, I don't even tolerate being on the phone with somebody who got bitch problems today. I don't tolerate that level of conversation out of people. That's a lot of stuff I just don't tolerate because I got to protect myself from listening to this shit being normalized to people. That's the problem when you keep complaining about shit that you're not going to fix. You keep trying to normalize this sort of behavior to justify your own stagnation. No, you will not be justifying your own stagnation on my watch. If you exhibit this problem, I'm going to give you a solution. It's up to you to fix this issue after I giving you a solution. And after that, I got to roll out to another problem. You're not a woman. Nobody's going to take care of you. If your stuff ain't running right, no one's going to take care of you. That's going to be your own problem. You can't be venting about the same problem over and over again, man. Yeah, you have to, Xantos Clutch. You have to. So let's go to the next issue here. And it's sad to say this, but there's a lot of fake sexually compromised men within the space itself who act like they have no self control, that they have to deal with some of the worst individuals on the planet. And after they do so, they have to complain about everybody else about it. Having a lack of personal control over who you want to date and who you have sex with is a you problem, not the society's problem. It isn't. It's a you problem. You got to stop having a standard of I'll stop believing lies when everybody stopped lying. That's what these people are clearly saying. They're trying to put the responsibility of people building a perfect society before they attempt to have personal control over themselves and self discipline. A perfect society is not going to provide that for you. And even if you did live in a perfect society like that, what's going to happen the moment you leave that perfect society? You're going to have the same problems that you had before. Again, most of these things are based on people outsourcing these issues to other people to fix it for them rather than fixing it themselves. On top of all these things, there are still things that you still have to work for and work towards and vote against and stop from happening. Yo, what's going on, Von Brown? But this is where we currently are at. Nobody wants to hear the harsh truth. Nobody wants to hear this type of talk. No one wants to take the appropriate action. No one wants to put in the appropriate time. But everybody wants to benefit across the board. As if they did put in those actions when they clearly didn't. The reason why I'm giving you all this information up front, and the reason why I'm changing the content the way I'm currently doing it, because you got to start building a life where these things are not a problem in your generation. What's going on, Authentic Perspectives? MOT, good to see you. Hope all is well. Keep teaching, sir. It's Gab. Yeah. I know that. What's going on, Gab Top Media? Yeah, that's his new channel, Authentic Perspectives. Make sure y'all subscribe to his channel. But that's where we're currently at. Because if you've seen how these other groups of people are getting their finances together, I'm talking about Indians and Arabs specifically. They're raising a nearly 100% productive household. Nearly 100%. These people are going to be hell in the next 20 years. Everything that you think is not locked down, they're going to lock you out of all that shit. And it's going to be nobody else's fault but your own. We're going to know who is working toward what in the next 5 or 10 years. No, I'm almost done with the LOM. I'm almost done with it. I think I got like 500 or 600 more books to upload to it, but yeah. So all these things that you can change right now, you got control over. You got control over all this stuff. You see, you have to understand that most of the manosphere have been operating as forward operating agents to actually scout out the landscape for productive men and try to lead these men back to the community by getting them focused on entertainment and bullshit. And I'm not saying that because of I'm just saying things. I'm saying that because of what the topics of discussion are nowadays. The topics of discussion are still based on avoidable women. A lot of these topics are still based on avoidable circumstances. No one is talking about what life they built without these problems. Like if you look at the timeline, the complaints are the same from beginning to end. The complaints are the same. No political understanding, no building on power, no control over their own life, no control over their own actions, and outsource it to other people to actually do things. I'm telling you this shit to make life easier because life should be easier. And all these problems have been solved by better people already. All these problems have already been solved. All these problems have already been solved. There is no need to talk about no gynocracy, no matriarchy, no none of that shit. The reason why you're talking about that shit is because you're trying to stall and stagnate men and simultaneously empower women at the same time. I think the manosphere has given women a level of awareness that they've never had before. However, individual results are your responsibility. It's not the society's responsibility. When I was in Mississippi suffering those consequences, when it came time for me to leave, I left. And I did not go back for 20 years to make sure that I could leave under my own shit, especially when I fell into the traps that I fell into for my issues. Ending up in Mississippi would have been the worst thing for me. The worst. But you have to realize that chasing down and ingesting failure on a daily basis is going to turn you into a failure. Period. You're going to become a sum total of the average shit that you take in every day. You're going to become that. Whether you want to or not, whether you know that that's the case or not, you're going to turn into the sum total of the things that you deal with. It's too easy to remove your actual attention and focus you on bullshit. It's too easy to do that. But you got to understand that those people have made their decisions and you got to lead their ass out there. Don't let them come and socialize you with this relationship talk. Don't let them come and try to socialize you into their bullshit with this community talk. The only community that you got is your own household. That's the only community that you worry about. Household, household, personal finances, personal power. Who are you working with around the city? The people who ain't doing anything are the people with the most complaints about everybody's lack of production of producing for them. All you gotta do is sit back, wait, and watch. There's no reason for a grown ass man to be talking about relationship shit or diesels or any of that stupid shit off in their 50s and 60s. That shit's crazy. Cause you can't go nowhere in a city, any large city, and find these type of individuals talking about this stupid shit. Because if there were more strong fathers, a lot of these weak ass men wouldn't even be having no voice around here. They're here taking advantage of these misguided children. And here's the thing, they put these kids here in the first place. They put these kids in harm's way. They created these child soldiers that they're trying to act like they so all of a sudden concerned about. They created these child soldiers. They put these kids in harm's way. You got people with no kids talking about the future of black boys. You got people with no custody of their kids talking about the future of black boys. It's insane. You got people who on child support not organizing to put ballot initiatives on the ballot to actually lessening the actual blow for the situation that they're in. You got people out here today who still think game works. When you got Tom Brady going through the shit with his wife, but somehow game works. 2023, man, you gotta lead you gotta create a whole year of you not listening to this shit from 90s people. You got people not even dating these women talking about the gynocracy or the matriarchy. You know what feeds the matriarchy and the gynocracy? Weak ass men. Weak ass men who want to make a deal for a little bit of night box. Weak ass men keep this shit alive. Weak ass, unproductive, undisciplined men keep this shit going. But they have to keep this shit going. Why? They're totally invested in men's failure. They're totally invested in men's failure. Totally invested. They can't think of a day without relationship issues or chasing after some woman who's fucking done some shit wrong. The black woman complaint squad, that's what these people are on. Every time a black woman fucking up anywhere, you got these rambling ass dumb motherfuckers who go out of their way to go find this shit and put it up in everybody's faces. I don't run into these people in cities. I don't run into people like this, but you run into them online. Internet alphas, all this game, not getting chosen up by no woman within the space. Like a whole bunch of goofy shit that's going on here, man. But a lot of this stuff is still the synthetic victim mentality because these people have all the excuses for why they don't need to produce. The only thing they have to do now is get with this actual wrong type of woman so that way they can have this finished in school for the shit that they don't want to do for themselves. That's what I'm talking about, Brandon Baxter. Listen, just like I tell these nurses in these hospitals, your supervisor only went to school 2 more years than you. That's why she ain't doing none of that fucking work. And that's why she's going home early while you working all these fucking hours. Because she decided to go to the next level and you didn't. Everybody, everybody got skill up out here, which is your own personal responsibility, man. We're living in Dr. King's dream right now. Right now is the time where the content of your character and your skills and abilities is going to take your ass long away. But if you want to feed yourself into the actual opinions of these individuals who are non productive and not going anywhere on purpose, that's your fault. That's on you. You got to own that shit. You got to own that. That's what I'm saying, Ayo. Skill up or shut up. I get it, man. There's some bad areas to be locked into in the United States. That shouldn't be a complaint over 2 years, man. You got to plan your escape and get the hell out of there. And LOM, when you make it to six figures, that don't mean that you giving 5 figures away on some bullshit. That's your money. Your money, you made it, you keep it. Just like my mother said, they wasn't there while the shit was built. They definitely ain't gonna be there while the shit is being enjoyed. Fuck them. The world is not going to be able to handle men who are actually productive and progressive. They don't know how to handle that type of shit, man. I'm telling you. Some of these dudes did not even know that these truck companies need mechanics like a motherfucker. Dude, dude walked in there. He was working at a fucking grocery store, making $9 an hour. $9 an hour at John Eagle. I gave this dude the idea to go to International Trailer Shop. They put this dude through school, and now he's at $25 an hour. 6 months. And they pay for him to go to school. The dude's whole life turned around. But I had to prepare this dude whenever he did move to a different income source. Yeah. You know what happened? The ancient people in his family tried to come in and try all these emotional ass games, trying to take his shit away from him, to include his parents, trying to guilt trip him and all that shit. Like, they leave you emotionally broken so that way they can walk their ass back up in there. Yes. Yeah. You're right, Edor. What's going on, Doc Phoenix? That's what I'm saying. That dude finally made it to the finish line. They was okay with him making $9 an hour, sleeping in that back room in a house where they was, contributing half of his check to their stuff. But the moment this dude was making a little bit of money, I think he's probably at $30 an hour now because he kept volunteering for those classes like I told him to. Yeah, I'm like, look, man, it's time for you to live on your own. It's time for you to enjoy your peace and quiet that you actually work for. It's time for you to get away from this noise. It's time for you to learn how to survive without all this noise around. Dude moved out. He's about 2 blocks from the Freightliner, right across from the International. That dude's doing all right, man. When he was bagging groceries, nobody gave a fuck about that dude, man. They, I'm telling you, man, like his family wasn't even trying to put him on this shit. But that's a domesticated pets that that these people raise within this environment. They raise these type of domesticated pets. That's eventually gonna try to master their masculinity through some other means, other than getting their shit together. Oh man, Eric Berg, boy, that's a whole live stream to itself, man. That's a whole live stream to itself. The moment the glue of the family dies, these people want to go back to being individuals right away. And sometimes you don't know people are even on that type of shit until them people are up out of there. You gotta understand, man, if you want to create a better life, you're gonna have to do it yourself. And you're gonna have to leave the majority of these people out of it most of the time. You're gonna have to leave them out of it. You gotta create an actual environment where these people opinion don't mean shit. You gotta create that environment for yourself. All this shit I did it the hard way. I didn't know how this shit was gonna end it up, but I made damn sure who was gonna be a part of it and who wasn't. You're right, Doc Phoenix. Codependency is part of it. But it's a cultured and coached codependency that make you codependent upon evil ass things for survival. All it is a socialization process of socializing you to accept the unacceptable. It's normal. Why don't you try putting things right or talk about something positive? Look how quickly people try to walk up, naysay, or just try to outright destroy your shit. They do it in a heartbeat. That is what we are, folks. You have to understand that the victim mentality itself can easily be defeated. Easily be defeated. The only thing it takes is effort, research, and action to get past it. You got to want to get past this shit. Those people are not going to ever let your ass get away with that shit. You got to understand that these individuals do not care. Fake love, fake peace help the fakest people. These people want to do the wave riding instead of true investment. Yeah, you're right about that. LOM, you're right. They just want to look sharp versus being combat ready. They want to make things look right versus actually being right. That's what these people are on, man. That's what they own. And the highest compliment that you can never receive for these people is, oh man, you just being a hater. You goddamn right I hate you. Hate your fucking guts. Hate the fact that you're still alive. Hate the fact that ain't nobody fucking knocked your goddamn block off for trying to keep this bullshit up. Fuck yeah, I fucking hate you. That's the highest compliment you can get from these goddamn people. It's the fact, oh man, you just a hate. Like, man, get the fuck out of here. What are we, 5? But that's where we at, man. You got to notice that you're going to be in a very, very, very low percentage position once you get there. Very, very, very low percentage. Don't be shocked and don't be surprised if you're the only one that looks like you. Because trust me, the things that you think they're exclusive to here, they're not exclusive to here. They're happening in every single household across the country. Not just black, not just white, not just Latino, not just Asian, and not just Indian, and not just Native American. It's going to be a very small group of people that you're going to be able to work with. And you have got to get out of your mind that you got to start with skin color first. Fuck that. Values come first. Values come first. I'm sorry. I don't have enough time to be watching my back and trying to move forward, man. I'm tired of that shit. A lot of these people just ain't got the minimum level of principle to operate. That's all it is. They want you to be principled to make you predictable while they act how they want to act toward everybody else. Hey, Doc Phoenix, it's lonely but it's peaceful. It's lonely but it's peaceful. I will not trade this peace for that noise ever again. I won't even do it. So, hope this Carlton Banks dude is still listening. I'm gonna drop the link because apparently he couldn't stay on topic and he wanted to talk about everything else except for what the topic was. Uh, 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 but that's the problem. People too tied into foolishness to even want to see things change. You're right about that too, Iori. It is loud and crowded at the bottom. I don't have any desire to go play with that stuff again. So if you're still watching Carlton Banks the third, you could come up now. Hey, like I said, I don't have a problem with you being on the right, but organize why your ass is over there. Do you see Latinos? That's a good group to point to. Do you see Latinos who are on both sides of the aisle out here trolling each other, trolling the left and doing all this stupid shit? Do you ever see them doing that on each side of the political divide that they're actually invested in? Do you see them doing that? Hell no, you don't see them doing that. You don't see Arabs and Asians doing that shit either. But when it comes to black people, you always see somebody doing that shit, which is crazy. It is too easy to organize for what you want to organize for over there if that's why you're over there. But if you're over there to just troll and just not do shit, then all right, man. There ain't nothing you can do about it. Of course you don't see that. No, no, you don't see that shit. No, 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 no. You don't see it. Because if you constantly in the mode of keeping them guessing, you can work for all tons of things. But if you're over there and the only thing you're doing is just pointing weapons at us and we got to stop our progress to address you, then yeah, we're never going to go anywhere. But that is the issue. That is your personal responsibility to know what the fuck's going on in a democracy, to understand the history of where you are in a democracy. No one is going to come to you. No one is going to come to you and figure this shit out for you. That's why I find it hard to talk to most of these people too. Because as soon as you start talking about some real shit, right wing talking points come right out of the mouth. And as soon as you ask them to prove their point, they don't know how to even do it. They don't know how to do it. Like organizing is easy. Showing up is easy. Very easy. You know what's hard and time consuming? Making excuses and going off in the traps that you don't need to be going in. That's what's hard. Think about how specific and easy this system is. And think about how dumb you got to be playing this shit the other way. Like you don't know what's going on. Mike V, what's going on, man? Mike V, you there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. Apparently the link works. So
Yeah, I just want to make sure that the link worked.
yeah.
All right, that's been confirmed. So, what's going on?
Nothing much, man. It's just like this victim mentality shit I'm talking about, man. Like this shit is purely their way of trying to hold the conversation hostage by deliberately not fighting the way they're supposed to and trying to outsource this shit to everybody else, like it's everybody else's responsibility to work for them. Like, nah, man. Like, listen, if you're not participating, then just shut the fuck up. It's very easy. If you can't participate in the process, just shut the fuck up.
I wonder if this is their way of protesting. Like instead of like putting on like a silkscreen T-shirt or going out there with a placard, that this is their way of protesting. Victim mentality is their way of protesting.
Yes, I would say so.
Okay.
I would say it's a way of trying to say that they don't like how anything works, so let's just sit back and just let the whole thing fall and fail. And they think some greater system is going to actually be rebuilt out of that shit. I'm like, oh, okay. You got this 6-3 conservative Supreme Court. Okay, everything that you think was progressive that's going to happen is going to be knocked the fuck down by those people.
Right.
Because I can't name a super majority conservative Supreme Court that's ever been a friend to any working class person. I can't name it. I'm sorry. I can't name a time period where a majority conservative Supreme Court wasn't just outright siding with corporations over people.
Yeah, and no one's coming to save you.
Oh no.
And this idea that I'm only going to participate when I get what I want out of it. That's not a winning strategy. It's just not a winning strategy. I mean,
you got a coalition build. You got a coalition build, and you got to keep that coalition up. Like, bro, like these people see what you own. They see what you own, man, because they participate and they see how easy it is to participate, and they see the stuff that we doing. They see it. They're not dumb.
Right. And they think that they can hold this out, they can hold out, into perpetuity, but they have to understand that there's a limited, window of opportunity and time available to engage this. Because if these other folks take over,
which they will.
Yeah, it's a 50-50 chance these other folks may take over. You're not going to get any of your needs, not so much of your needs, but a lot of your ambitions met. You're never going to be able to fulfill those ambitions. And so,
oh no,
whether it's a 14-point agenda or a 15-point agenda, it doesn't matter. If you're not coalition building with anybody, if you're not working with anybody, if you're not taking a side, you're not going to be able to get any of these things done. And unfortunately, by the week, we're starting to see more and more of these type of people prop up in the space.
Yeah. I mean, like the manosphere just turned into an opportunity zone of fuckery and bullshit. That's what happened, man.
A helmet zone.
A helmet opportunity zone.
But guys are willing to mortgage their credibility, on Tory Lanez.
You gotta be kidding me. I mean, I gave my opinion, but I did not know that this person had a felony. Like people don't understand. This is a very easy situation. If you have a felony, you better not be anywhere near a gun situation. They're gonna find a way to pin that shit on you, one way or another. That's why I didn't do gunpowder analysis on everybody to make sure his ass go down for that shit. But had he would have knew that going in there, would he would have did it? Probably not. But to him, being around these women was more important than his freedom.
And maybe that's
All
why
right,
so
man.
many. Maybe that's why so many black men in the space identify with him.
Yes, because the issue was, no, he was with both of the women, so nah, nah. You gotta understand, man. Once the cops come there, the person who's the odd man out is gonna be the person who's getting all the charges. All right. Like you don't know who these people are snitching on. You don't know what the relationship is. They gave somebody immunity, bro. You should have been trying to cop to a lower charge or getting up out of the country, something. You take your ass to that trial, you take them through that process, and you ain't got no high dollar competent attorney that would have thrown out that because his attorney didn't make enough noise about the actual case itself. And people think that I'm like, dude, listen, they're trying to kill you. They brought you up on charges to put your ass in jail. You can't be looking to these people to treat you nicely, man. You gotta be out of your mind. Nah, man. Look, gun comes out, I'm out of there. I'm out of there, gone. Yeah, man. You stay your ass there, man. You gonna deal with them consequences.
I mean, gunpowder residue. I mean, sounds like a case closed. Sort of case. I'm
Yeah.
not sure what they think that they were going to fight against. But the main point that I'm making here is that a lot of black men are siding with Tory on this, and I think that that's how black men see themselves. Um,
Yes, they do. They
they see
want to
them.
see themselves as in a situation where two women are fighting, where potentially that he was probably sleeping with both women and he got the bad deal. I'm like, man, look, I don't care about none of that stuff. Once they say the dude had a felony, and I'm like, man, look, the last thing you need to be is in a situation with anybody with firearms. You're going to jail. They're going to find a way to pin that stuff on you, man. And you better make sure that you spend every dime you got to get a competent attorney because you don't want to be in a situation of some coulda, shoulda, woulda.
Yeah,
No.
yeah. It's just a matter of, for me, it's less about the women and more about the avatar of masculinity for them.
Dude, like I don't even worry about weak ass men and like dumbass concerns like that, man. Like that shit really gets on my nerves, man. How like men want to sit here and talk about all this masculine shit, but none of them are even productive. None of them even want to do the minimum work to like do anything. Everything is all about masculine, just outsourcing the shit to somebody else rather than just going and get the stuff themselves, man. Like it really gets on my nerves when I hear these want to be masculine dudes talk about masculinity and how other people here we go with that outsourcing shit again. Other people are not repping their masculinity for them. Like, dude, that's not people's responsibility. Like, that's you. You can't be looking at all these other people to like represent your own masculinity more than you. Like, man, what is this? Like, this don't even make any sense, man.
Yeah, yeah. It's just one of those things, man. It'd be one thing if black men saw themselves in like uh, what's the new 18-year-old mayor in Arkansas, Mayor Smith, I think that's his last name.
Yeah.
They don't see themselves in that, but they see themselves in Tory Lanez, right? They don't see themselves in what's this other young cat that got into office, the one from Florida, the Afro Cuban guy or the Afro Latino guy. you know, they don't see themselves in that, the most productive aspect of life as a black man. You know, at 18 years old, this young guy who's going to be mayor in a few weeks.
Yeah, Jalen Smith. Yeah, that's what he
Yeah,
said, Jalen Smith.
yeah, Jalen Smith.
Yeah, wrong. You're wrong. Son. Thanks for that response, Jay Charles. But yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. It's like, bro, listen, we got to be able to move beyond this nonsense because you got to understand, man. No, dude, I don't think these people even understand. I personally think that they're too big to fail. They think that they're too big to fail. They really think that they're too big to fail. I do believe that.
Yeah. No, it's just that they think time is on their side and they can actually bid their time. Yo, man, there's a lot of guys who haven't made it in the manosphere trying to bid their time.
Yeah, man. Like they see themselves in the 50-year-old club. Like, you know what? Hey, man, my time's coming, man. You know, like everybody had theirs, and my time is soon. Like, it's not how that works, man. Those were moonshots, but they look at moonshots like viable opportunities, man. Like you can't really deal with people who think like that because they're a threat and a danger to everybody because they're gonna sit here, they're gonna be on this nonsense, and if it don't work, they're gonna blame everybody else but themselves.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It's kind of hard to deal with people who have this type of mind state. But the problem is that they want to take everybody else down with them if they can't get it for free, and
And maybe that's
a
where
tough question.
reparations comes in, right? Because 18-year-olds aren't talking about reparations. You know,
No, they're
21 year
not.
olds ain't talking about reparations.
No,
It's the guys who didn't really
do
who
shit with
who
their life.
who failed to be productive and to achieve in life. They're the ones. The first thing that comes out of their mouth politically is reparations. Cut the check, right? It's voter intimidation, also voter suppression. You know, drown out the conversation with just cut the check and give me give me reparations, and that's it. And then what could have been discussed is no longer on the table for discussion.
No, but the idea is to firebomb every conversation if it doesn't include them. Like we've seen on other people's live streams where the same thing has happened over the past 3 years and people just now starting to get tired of it. But it was like, but this dude's always been doing this. He
Yeah.
always stepped up, nothing to offer, firebomb the conversation. And now people are seeing like, hey man, hey man, what's up with this dude? Like, man, come on, man, this dude's been doing this. Like, y'all just now noticing it. Because the conversation has gotten so granular that everybody's doing repeat content on stuff that has just been beat to death, pretty much.
Also,
But
whatever's
that's what it
trending.
is. Yeah, and they have to do that algorithm simp shit, man. You forever got to follow the what's in the news, man. And if nothing happens in the news, they don't have anything to talk about. Next thing you know, we're talking about Stacey Abrams again.
And if not Stacey Abrams, Brittany Griner.
Oh my God, yeah.
And if not Brittany Griner, it's Meg Thee Stallion. If it's not Meg Thee Stallion, it's what's her face from MSNBC.
Oh yeah, the lady got fired or whatever.
Yeah.
Wow.
And if
Yeah,
yeah,
I mean, that's just kind of where we at.
yeah,
And it's like, but it's not, hard for them because they've always been stagnant.
yeah.
It's not a hard place for them because they've always been there. It doesn't matter to them because you know, they've arrived at their location, and it's us who's out of line because we're the ones who are trying to take away, quote unquote, their voice. Like, the manosphere is entertainment because we can't go nowhere.
Right.
We can't do shit with our life. So therefore, the manosphere is entertainment and entertainment only. And if you got a problem with it, Mike B, you can leave. You leave.
Imagine that, right? Leave the space and what's plan B? What happens after that?
Nah, man.
And some of these guys claim to be mentors, right? They say like, "Oh man, you know, when I mentor kids and you know the youth and stuff like that, who could you possibly be mentoring with the victim mentality?"
Who is going to leave their kids in your hands, man? Like, bro, I don't believe this stuff.
Yeah.
I'm like, do you know you can make millions of dollars a year solving these problems? I don't think you guys are doing that. I don't think you're doing that. I just don't think they are, man. I think it's easy to make these unsubstantiated claims, man. It's very easy to make these claims because if they seen what these people were up to online, man, like, bro, nobody would have their kid around this shit. Nobody. Nobody's trying to have a kid around these type of people, man. Nobody. It's nuts.
Yeah. But this has become the height of black male, you know, black male obsolescence.
Yeah, I mean, but everybody wanted to jump in because this right here became like, the new rap career for everybody. Just sitting back, being a Bravo in a in a dark corner of the room talking about bullshit, which is no different than talking about bullshit on a record or something. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Productivity was the enemy, man. That's what it was, and they came here to shut it down. And then they tried to blame the women for the shit. Like the women made you not get your shit together.
And the other piece is that they attack guys who travel.
Yes.
That's the other
Because
piece.
we got the finances to do so. Like what that is they're mad that people have the finances to skip all these problems and they're stuck with all these problems. That's what that is. They do not like the fact that people are skipping out on these consequences that they have to serve a lifetime for. They do not want to hear that shit. They want to hear that they are the ones who did this the wrong way and you have to do it wrong too. Like, nah, man, well, I'm good on that, man. You can stay out there by yourself with that. But that's what we are. And they want to be the voice. They don't mind putting their face out there. They don't mind doing none of that shit. They don't mind being on complete bullshit and putting their face behind it. Like it legitimizes the stupid shit that they be on, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hold on a second. Somebody. Yori, what's going on, man?
What's going on, guys?
Hey, what's going on, bro?
Not much.
Not too much, man. Merry Christmas to everybody in the chat.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, man. Same to y'all, man. Same to
All
y'all.
that pleasant
Merry Christmas.
shit. Yeah, man. Continue, MOT.
Yeah, it's just that we have to understand that these people are a threat to our actual image. Like they rolled in on some black male image shit, but these people are a threat to everybody's image as a man. They trying to make us look weak as shit for what reason? Like they're the ones with the problem here. They're the ones who stuck here. That's not everybody's issue. The things that they talk about. Everybody don't have issues with women not submitting and all this dumb shit that ain't got nothing to do with progress.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it turned the whole space into a free for all for Bravo Alpha November. It's just some crazy shit. Did they have to lie about 1.0 and do it? Like, come on, man. Like, bro, that's where we at, man. Something is wrong with these cats, man.
The space kind of went to hell when you had people that didn't know what the hell they were talking about, trying to sun people that really knew what the hell they were talking about.
I mean, but
Okay.
this would normally what would happen in the community though. It was a repeat of what had happened in the community.
Yeah.
It was just a repeat because it was like, who are these uppity dudes acting like they ain't got to pay homage to these actual people? Like that's what they actually was on.
Yeah. 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 You know, I took a long break from the space, and the only reason I was here is just because I wanted to pop my head in. It's just being in this space, man. It makes you real short about helping people. Because the thing is, when you say something or somebody else say something, and then these guys get bored and go panel hopping and shit, right? And then they go back to being below average dudes. Like, I'm real short on the fact that, like, yo, if y'all don't got your shit together, man, like, it's over. Y'all ain't gonna come to me and tell me nothing.
Man, it
And
be
that's
rough as shit for me, man.
and that's something that you and me have talked about offline or whatever privately. It took me a while to really just say fuck it, dude. All right, if y'all don't want to do nothing and y'all want to turn into super chat pimps and shit, then fine. I I don't got those problems.
Yeah, but you got to realize that, like I said in the analytics, man, like the people who watch your video go watch, what the fuck is this dude name? CGA. Well, they over there, Miss Pearly things, or this pink pill lesson shit. Like all the shit I would never fucking go do or be around. Like, yeah, your people go watch all this shit. I'm like,
Yeah.
wow, this is what these people do after they lead this conversation, man. Like, whew, man, rough out
Yeah.
here. Well,
I hear.
rough for them.
Yeah, it's rough for them. It's rough for them. I mean, it's it's gonna be produce or perish pretty soon. Because I put it like this: other communities don't got no space for people that can't produce.
Oh, none, none,
I mean,
none.
they'll straight tell you, man, like, yo, like go to the government for some shit. Like, you ain't gonna come in here not being able to hold up the standard of everybody that's here and do some shit. Like, when I was a kid, I didn't realize it, right? When I was a kid, when I was probably in my teens, I started seeing people that were in the deal and then people that weren't in the deal. Meaning, you got guys making 150, 180, $120,000 being programmers and IT guys and biotech guys and whatnot. It's all because we're talking mostly people that are Asian. We're talking mostly people who are in the knowledge slash STEM industries. And I was like, yo, where did this guy go? Where did that guy go? And they just told me without even worrying about it. It's like, yo, he wasn't really making the type of money he needed to make. So I told him not to come until he makes the type of money that we're making. I'm on the low punishing him because in the long run, it's going to make him get there. I was 15 learning this shit.
I mean, but we scared to leave people behind. Well, I mean, they're scared to leave people behind because it kind of dovetails with the fact that they're really not going anywhere, and they use those people who are not going anywhere to kind of jimmy the numbers to make it look like it's an everybody problem when it's really just a somebody problem. That's kind of what that does is by by focusing on broken people, you kind of leave a situation wide open for the whole thing to be kind of used in the method to where you kind of skew the numbers towards fuckery and bullshit by focusing on broken people rather than people who got it.
Right. 100%. 100%.
But that's what the plan was. I mean, the plan wasn't to fix this thing. The plan was to make sure that these things was going to stay this way forever.
Yeah. I mean, see, you made a great point before. Like, it's not hard to go and get the resources that you need to really get
Oh no.
your shit
Oh no,
together.
not today.
I,
Not
I
today.
mean, but the thing is, you got a lot of dudes like thinking that we're still dealing with life before 1965, even though they know we ain't. They doing that shit on purpose because if they really think we still back in 1965, it gets them to the point that they don't have to produce shit.
I mean, but that's why I say the synthetic victim mentality is people who actually don't know better are actually in those circumstances and they're repeating the mistakes of those people who actually think like that.
Right.
They're actually picked up the 1960s logic and acting like there was this great family dynamic and all this other shit. If only this woman would just come home and act right, things would be better for them too. Like, what are you talking about? You never experienced that shit nowhere in their life, and they didn't either.
Right. Yeah, something like that. I hear it. I hear it.
Yeah, but that's where we are. I mean, think about it. We're online and we're openly talking about this. I had to figure this shit out my whole fucking life. I had
Yeah.
to figure this shit out. Whole life had to sit here and figure it out. While you had individuals sitting there trying to create actual you know, child soldiers out of everybody who don't even know how these things work,
Right.
with the specific purpose of leaving them lost.
Right.
The specific purpose of leaving them lost. And I
I hear
think that is just so bad that people would purposefully come through here and mislead people, come through here and purposefully spread miscommunication, purposefully come through here and play with people's insecurities and emotions and shit. Purposefully come through here. I'm talking about credentialed individuals. Come through here not having a side pick, not knowing how shit works, trying to socialize non-action for people.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. Look, I've said this plenty of times, and I'll say this again. I mean, people in here already know. Shout out to everybody that's here. The money is in, if you're talking white collar, the money is in programming, uh, data analytics, data science, any of that stuff. Um, you know, outside of your normal engineering stuff, you got some money in accounting and a little bit in finance. And then if you really want, like, you got your blue collar stuff like electricians and plumbers and truck drivers and all that other kind of stuff. Oh yeah, cybersecurity too. Yeah, there's some money in cybersecurity, but there's more money, I think, in just general front end, back end work. If you're gonna be like a full stack dev who really knows what they're doing, you can pretty much write your own check. So, cyber is important though, because cyber is important when it comes to keeping everything secure. But then networking is a part of that too, and then you got cloud as part of the greater infrastructure. So,
Yeah,
but
but
yeah,
you got a lot
I
of
mean,
people who just don't even want to
it is
put in
what
the
it is.
work. Yeah.
It is what it is. You know.
No, I mean, it's just that, you just got to be prepared that a lot of these people are just ain't gonna be around here. A lot of people just want this actual idea that that these things just going to, for some reason, work out.
Yeah.
The only thing we got to do is just keep adding these individuals here who don't belong here, and all of a sudden it's gonna work. I'm like, that's not how that works, man.
Right.
You're adding the wrong people in here that don't mean anything.
And it's weird. This is the secret, right? For people that go into these situations or fake like they going into these situations without being there, and then saying, "Oh man, they don't like us doing da 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 da." Don't like us, meaning people that aren't at their intellectual level, who are above their intellectual level, don't like the fact that they're at that particular intellectual level. Here's the secret. When you go into some kind of STEM shit or some other stuff, the respect comes from stretching your boundaries and pushing yourself. You push yourself and show that you can hang, man, everybody be fucking with you. But there's an initiation process in you not being full of shit when you walk in there.
Yeah, like a lot of people have a hard time giving up that portion of who they are. That whole liberal kind of. I could do whatever I want to. I don't care about any type of standards
No, no, no,
bullshit.
that shit ain't
No,
gonna
man.
work there.
And that's what most people fail at because they're not used to being in those type of environments where they have to exhibit a level of principle. Because like among certain environments, principle make you weak.
Yeah,
Principle make you predictable.
yeah,
They're supposed to eat the principle people. Like that's what they own.
yeah, yeah. Look, I said this in the chat, right? I'm gonna repeat it here. 1 year of making $100,000 or more will wipe away 20 years of bullshit.
In a heartbeat.
Because people really don't understand. Like once you get there, like unless you're gonna be a complete fuck up, then there's no real way that you can go down the wealth scale from there. Getting up there is harder than falling back down.
Oh, of course it is. I mean, but these people want to quiche you up as soon as they get there and try to live this hood rich lifestyle bullshit, and that's when they fuck it up and throw it all away. But I'm done with even dealing with those people too, man. Like you have to be able to just build some shit to where you cannot be around sexually compromised people, man. You
Yeah.
you can't be around them. You can't be around them. You gotta get that shit up. That shit is it's just crazy. But like a lot of people don't want to give it up, and it's too deep and it's too part of who they are as a person for some dumbass reason, And it becomes something that you just have to just make sure that you just don't bring with you. Like me, just a lot of stuff I just don't bring with me. I just don't even think about it. I see it, I catalog it, I track it, and I avoid it. That's what it is. It's not even having a conversation with it. Nothing. Not even doing it.
100%.
But a lot of people can't do that because a lot is like I said earlier on the live stream, man. It's too much of them in them.
Yeah.
They can't let that shit go.
I hear it. I hear it.
You're right, Roger Spice. They got that Toys R Us kid shit in them, man.
Yeah.
Bro, you can't really fucking deal with somebody like that. Nah, man. Not me. Shit, not at this point in my life. No, sir.
I hear it.
I got time for things going right. That's what I got time for. Things going correct.
I hear it, bro. I hear it.
Yeah, man. Well, let me get up out of here, man. You got anything else before we get up out of here?
Look, man, much love to everybody in the chat. Shout out to Roger. Shout out to Eisen. Shout out to God, I can't remember him. Ike, Doc Phoenix, everybody, man. Much love to you, Eric Bird. Much love to everybody, man. Let's make it happen, man. Let's make sure that the Most High and Shango and Shiva basically bless us with some productivity so we can go get this money. Fuck.
Oh, no doubt, man. Yeah. All right. And before we leave out of here, man, you have to recognize that this whole victim mentality and this synthetic victim mentality that these younger people got, that's something that they chase down, man. Nobody asked them to do that shit. They did it on their own. They did it because they felt like they didn't have a choice. They did it because they wanted to fit in. And it's going to be their responsibility to unchoose that shit. Don't waste any method or any part of your life trying to waste any of your productivity trying to get these people out of predictable ass problems that they got themselves into. This is their fault, and they have to handle it because trust me, they don't have the productivity nor the 100K it takes to take care of these women in this situation. They're trying to socialize you into coming back and dealing with this shit on their behalf. Fuck that. You enjoy your life, man.
100%.
So with that said, I want to thank Mike V and Iori for coming up, man. You guys have a really nice rest of y'all day. Peace.